In the heart of every medieval kingdom, there were laws, taxes, and those who defied them. For every king who sought control, there were merchants who sought freedom, smugglers, traders, and thieves who made profit in the shadows. They crossed borders by moonlight, bribed guards with silver, and hid treasures beneath sacks of grain, salt, spices, silks, and sometimes luxury so rare that it could cost a man his life. This was the underworld of the Middle Ages, a market without banner, without rules, and without mercy, where gold changed hand in whisper, and the price of silence was higher than any coin. The roots of the black market. Smuggling wasn't born of greed, it was born of survival. The medieval crown taxed everything it could: salt, ale, wool, even windows. Let's start off with the salt taxation. For example, in France, the gabelle, the salt tax, imposed a monopoly on salt sale from 1341, making salt a state-controlled commodity and fostering illegal trade. Now let's talk about the wool smuggling. Wool was such a major export that smuggling of wool in the 14th century became an illicit economy. To live under such weight, peasants and merchants alike turned to the shadows. Coastal smugglers used small, silent boats to bring in contraband from across the sea, while inland traders buried goods beneath hay or hid coins inside hollow loaves of bread. Guilds controlled trade, but beyond the law, free men created their own economy, an invisible network of deals and dangers that fed entire villages. Even monasteries weren't immune. Monks secretly traded relics, wine, and spices in exchange for forbidden luxuries. Everyone had a price, and in the medieval black market, every man was a merchant. Tricks of the trade. To smuggle in the Middle Ages was a dance with death. Punishment ranged from heavy fines to hanging from the city gates. The art of deception became survival itself. Salt hidden in sacks of grain, gold coins hidden in barrels of fish, wine diluted, relabeled, and resold under royal insignias. But the cleverest smugglers didn't run from authority. They worked with it. Guards were bribed, toll collectors were paid in silence, and nobles often turned a blind eye, so long as their share of silver was waiting at dusk. And so, from the smallest hamlet to the grandest port, the black market thrived in plain sight, hidden not by darkness, but by the greed of those who swore to stop it. The forbidden goods. Not all smuggled goods were gold or silk. Some were far simpler, yet far more desired. Sugar, spices, and desserts reserved only for the highborn. Spices such as pepper, cinnamon, and cloves were highly prized in medieval Europe, imported across vast distance and equated with luxury. These were few delicacies few peasants ever tasted, unless they came through smuggled hands. A jar of sweet preserve could fetch a high price, and a cobbler rich with apples and cinnamon, that was a treasure itself. Among the most prized, baked fruits and sweets from royal kitchens. They traveled across lands under false names, hidden in merchant carts, traded in secret at night markets. The medieval black market wasn't only about profit, it was about taste, luxury, and the defiance of destiny. To eat like a king, even once, was worth the risk of the gallows. From that spirit of rebellion and indulgence comes the Armored Kingdom Premium Apple Cobbler, a jar born of royal sweetness. Tender apples, steeped in cinnamon and sugar, layered with golden perfection. A dessert once forbidden to commoners, now offered to every royal subject of the realm. Crafted with care, sealed with the king's mark, and made to warm even the coldest medieval heart. This is not just dessert. It is a piece of rebellion served on a royal jar. Taste what the smugglers once risked their lives to steal. The smugglers and their secrets. Who were these daring men and women who defied the crown? Some were merchants cheated by taxes. Others were sailors seeking freedom from guilds. And many were peasants, desperate to feed their families through forbidden means. They formed secret networks, passed code messages through inns, and used songs as smuggling signals. A single candle in a window might mean safe passage. A red scarf at a gate, danger. They lived dangerous lives, but their trade shaped empires. Because while kings controlled the law, smugglers controlled the people's needs. The legacy of the black market. The black markets of old may have faded, but their spirit lingers in every deal struck outside the watchful eye of power. They remind us that the heart of trade is not law, but desire. The hunger for more, for freedom, for the forbidden. So when you open a jar of the Armored Kingdom Premium Apple Cobbler, remember the smugglers who defied law for a taste of sweetness. The outlaws who proved that luxury cannot be chained. Because in every bite lies the flavor of rebellion, the warmth of forbidden joy, and the taste of victory over tyranny itself. The Armored Kingdom Premium Apple Cobbler, once forbidden to peasants, now served to the royal subjects.